Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Just My Thoughts. I'm your host, Erick Coughlin, and now that preseason is finally over with, usually, back in the day, there used to be four preseason games for each team. Now there's only three. But the reason why they did that is because they extended the actual season. We used to have 16 games, now we have 17 games. So to get that extra season game, we lost a preseason game. So I guess I'm all right with that. So any which way, we are finally done with the preseason, and we are 2 weeks away from the season kickoff. September 10th will be the Bears' first game against Green Bay, and I do believe it's in Chicago. But yeah, I know it's in Chicago. So super stoked about that. Super ready for that. So now, for the next couple of weeks, it's every team's job to get past the 90-man marker. So everybody had 90-man roster, and um, they have so week before Sunday, they have a week to get the drop from 90 players to 53 players. Every NFL roster is a 53-man roster. And so that's what every team is working on. Every team is trying to get down to the 53-man roster. And so I've never really barked any of that up before. I usually always just, wait till the new Madden comes out, or, honestly, you can get Sports Illustrated magazines. They still make Sports Illustrated. SI is still a thing. Sports Illustrated is still a magazine, and usually, so you can get a Sports Illustrated magazine, and it would give you the 53-man roster of every NFL team. So that will probably release by next Friday, assuming that season's going to start next Sunday. Not this Sunday, like I said, in 2 weeks. So not this Sunday, but next Sunday, we should start having Thursday night football, and then Premier Sunday would be everybody playing, and then the premiere night of Monday Night Football, and then from there on it's balls out. It's season time, baby. So either which way, you don't necessarily have to wait on Madden to tell you who made the team. There's other ways to find out. Of course, you can Google, you can Bing, you could probably even go to your favorite team's website. But again, you can't do none of that for literally the next 8 days. So like if you try to do it today, it's not going to work. That's pretty much what I'm saying. So there is no assorted or finished 53-man roster. It all started today. And so I actually started Saturday. Saturday was our last game against the Bills. We lost 24-21. And if you guys can remember a thing or two about, last episode, I told you sometimes that losing's a good thing. Sometimes you find out more about your team and who you want to be with a loss than you do a win. So all things considered, I think we had a really great preseason. We could have went undefeated. We chose not to. Now, we could have beat the Bills Sunday. We should have beat the Bills Sunday, but we had Brent Carlson, drop a fucking touchdown in the end zone, dove for it when he could have just ran the route. He wanted to look, splashy. These are guys that are trying to make the team, so he tried to make a big splash, tried to dive into the end zone, make everybody excited, make the team fall in love with him, and he fumbled the ball and cost us a touchdown. So, enough with the flash and just give me my points. I want six. I don't want a flipping six. I don't care about all that crap. I just want the six. So that being said, I challenged myself to make my own 53-man roster. Like I said, never done this before. So this would be the first time I've ever did this in my life. And I did it Saturday after the game. And this is what I come up with. So quarterbacks, keeping three of them: Justin Fields, Tyson Bagent, and Nathan Peterman. So that means no PJ Walker for my 53-man roster. How you doing? Running backs, I kept three of them: Khalil Herbert, Roshan Johnson, Dante Foreman. Anybody else, you're not going to make the cut. And you were wondering who I'm talking about. I'm talking about a guy we drafted last year, Tristan Ebner. He would not make my cut. He did not make my cut. Now the fullbacks. Now this is where it's going to be interesting. I actually decided to keep three fullbacks, but only really two of them are fullbacks and one's a halfback. So just hear me out. So Kyrie Blasingame, Robert Burns. Remember I told you guys there was a Burns guy, number 45 out there. I found out that his first name was Robert. So Robert Burns, you made my cut. And Travis Homer. Even though Travis Homer's a halfback, I'm listing him as like a occasional down fullback, an occasional down halfback, a premier special teams player. That's how I got him listed. Travis Homer, you made my 53-man roster. How you doing? So we're at 9 players right now. Tight ends, I kept four of them. Cole Kmet, Robert Kenya, Mercedes Lewis, and Brent Carlson. Even though I just bragged about, or I was bitching him out about dropping that touchdown, he finished the game with four catches, and I think he had roughly 43 yards on four catches. So even though he dropped the touchdown trying to catch people's attention, meaning that if it wasn't a preseason game, odds are he might have caught that ball running the route and it would have been a touchdown and we would have won. I give the guy benefit of the doubt. He made my cut. Good job, Brent Carlson. Wide receivers, I kept seven of them. And I kept one that I absolutely hate, but I'm only keeping them for injured purposes only. So, DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool, Equinamia St. Brown, Darius Fountain. I've been telling you guys, like, I like him. I believe in him. He made my cut. Good job, Darius Fountain. Tyler Scott and Velus Jones Jr. Even though I've been saying I don't want Velus Jones Jr., I'm keeping seven wide receivers, so I'm keeping Velus Jones Jr. Kicker, Cairo Santos, how you doing? Punter, Trenton Gill, how you doing? All right, cornerbacks. I'm keeping four cornerbacks this year. Jalen Johnson, Colin Gorder, Tyreek Stevenson, and Terrell Smith. Now, if you want to know why I kept Terrell Smith is, first of all, in the very last preseason game against the Bills, he blocked a freaking punt. Like, no one even seen the guy coming. I played football a long time. I never blocked a punt. I understand. I played a lot of special teams. I was one of those guys. I was a headhunter. I was a returner. I was one of the special teams, guys. And I never blocked nothing. I understand it takes a lot of speed and a lot of patience and a lot of just, luck to do that. So the fact that he did that, I was like, wow, Terrell Smith, you made my cut. All right, now we're going with free safeties. I'm pretty much primarily keeping two free safeties. I'm keeping Eddie Jackson and A.J. Thomas. And then I'm keeping two strong safeties, Jaquan Brisker and Kendall Williamson. And then I got Jalen Jones playing the third of each of them, right? So I'm really only keeping what would look like to be five safeties, but one of them is going to be playing both sides of the ball. Kind of like I already told you guys this about Tyreek Stevenson. So I think he's the number one backup to wherever you need him. So even though he's listed as a cornerback, if Eddie goes down, I want Tyreek Stevenson back there. Or if Brisker goes down, I want Tyreek Stevenson back there. But this is not about the Tyreek Stevenson show. This is about a 53-man roster. So I'm keeping Jalen Jones. And if there's any DB, like if I have to lose a DB, I have to lose Jalen Jones. Keep that in mind. Now, moving forward, we're looking at linebackers. I got Jack Sanborn, Noah Sewell, Dylan Cole, TJ Edwards, Terrell Edmonds, and DeMarcus Gates. So that's six linebackers I'm keeping. Keep that in mind. How you doing? And that is no wiggle room. I'm not losing one, period. Why? Because I play a 4-3, which means I only got three starters, and then I got each of my starters a backup. I'm going with six linebackers. I don't care who likes it. How you doing? Also, defensive tackles. I'm going with four defensive tackles: Zach Pickens, Gervon Dexter, Andrew Billings, and Travis Bell. So all three of our rookies, and Travis Bell. How you doing? Now, defensive ends: Travis Gibson, Delaney Walker, Dominic Robinson, and Yannick Ngakoue. Those are my defensive ends, and I'm keeping four of them, just like I'm keeping four defensive tackles. So, how you doing? Now to the offensive lineman. Now this is the hardest part to me because I've never been on the line, so I never paid attention to the line, and I might have undercut it. I kept 8 of them. So really, primarily, you probably want to keep 9 of them, which means Jalen Jones probably doesn't make the cut. He made mine, but in reality, he probably will not. But this is who I got. I got Darnell Wright, Nate Davidson, Cody Whitehair, Braxton Jones, Travis Jenkins, Alex Leatherwood, Lucas Patrick, and Larry Borum. Those are my offensive linemen. That is my 53-man roster for the 2023 Chicago Bears. Now, since I went through the liberty of making a 53-man roster for my team, I also went through the liberty of statting some of these guys. Now, all this is hypothetical, right? None of this is even happened yet. We're waiting on the season as we speak. So, that being said, so I did some predictions. What I did is, I'm going to predict, this is going to be crazy numbers, but this is going to be a bottom side and an upside to everything I got to say, okay? Okay, listen to what I've got to say. All right, for Justin Fields, I see him 3,400 yards with I'm going to say 43 touchdowns with 6 rushing touchdowns with a QBR of 92 and with roughly 17 to 21 interceptions, maybe just over a pick a game, 17 to 21 interceptions. So this is, like I said, there's a bottom side and there's an upside to this. 32 might be undercutting his production. This is the reason why. So this is why I know he's going to get at least 32. So when I look at DJ Moore, 1,000-yard wide receiver. All right. So then I look at Darnell Mooney. We're going to give Darnell Mooney that the 750 to 920 mark. Bingo. All right. So with just 2 wide receivers, that's 2,000 yards. Okay. Then you look at Chase Claypool, another guy who I think can mirror everything that Darnell Mooney does, but I don't think that's going to be his game. I think his game is going to be like having an extra tight end, even though he's a wide receiver. Move the chains some in the middle of the field, but primarily do your work inside the 20. He's an inside the 20 guy, and I still see him around 700 yards, around 8 or 9 touchdowns. So we're looking at 2,700 yards, 3 players, 3 wide receivers, okay? Just keep up with me here. Cole Kmet, I think this is going to be his franchise breakout year. We just gave him 4 years, $50 million. Now he's got to prove to us that he's worth that $50 million, and I think he's going to do that. I think he's going to be the 3rd leading receptions. Even though he's a tight end, he's going to lead us. He's going to be 3rd place in receptions as a tight end. I see him being a 1,000-yard tight end now. Now that's a lot of upside. So maybe 700 yards. I think he's going to have a crazy year. I think he's going to have 1,000 yards. So we were at 27, so now we're at 37, and that's just 4 of our players. So if I'm overcooking Cole Kmet, let's just put him at 700, and that still puts us at the 32 mark with just 4 players. Now, who are the guys that are going to help outside of the stars? So those are our 4-star wide receivers. So on paper, what I've got written down, I'm going to say you're going to get occasional help out of Darius Fountain, Tyler Scott. You're also going to get a little bit of help out of Kyrie Blasingame and Khalil Herbert. So that's 4 guys that aren't going to be like premier targets, but they're going to be targets. These guys are going to catch the ball. So within Herbert, within Blasingame, within Darius Fountain, Tyler Scott, and I'm going to also say Robert Tonyan. So 5 guys. Within those guys, you would think that every single one of them are going to get 100 yards apiece. So then if we're at 32 plus that extra 5, so we're at 37. Now this is just league minimum stuff. What if Darius Fountain pushes up to about 400 yards, and then Tyler Scott pushes up to about 200 yards, and then Robert Tonyan pushes up about 300 yards? Justin Fields ideally has a potential of 4,000 plus yards through the air this year, not including what he's going to do on the ground. So that being said, so I definitely think 50 touchdowns it is definitely doable. Like I said, he's got 9 guaranteed targets to throw the ball to this year. You know how many targets he had last year? 3. You know how many targets he had the year before that? 1. So from 1 to 3 to 9, that is a huge advantage and a huge upgrade, and he doesn't have the need to run around anymore. Now all he's got to do is worry about staying in the pocket, being protected, and sling that rock around the field all day long. And we've given him the opportunity to do that with our wide receiver core. And I'm going to break it down to you again. Wide receivers and tight ends. This is what we're looking at, people. This is who the Chicago Bears are going to be. You better be ready, because we're going to be DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool, Cole Kmet, Robert Tonyan, Darius Fountain, Tyler Scott, and Khalil Herbert. I mean, I just don't know what to tell you guys. We got a whole lot coming, and coming hard, coming fast. Look, these guys are all lightning quick, and none of these guys are afraid of contact. They don't stray away. These guys are more than likely going to catch the ball and look for a linebacker to run into on purpose, saying, "Hey, I'm a freight train. See you later. How you doing? Touchdown Bears." That's what we're going to be doing all year long through the air. So, excuse me, real quick. So the big question is, if we're having a 4,000-yard offense in the air, since Sir Coughlin is saying that we are, What are we going to do on the ground? So you think with 4,000 yards on the air that you're going to have a big disadvantage on the ground. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. And this is the reason why. This is what I think we're going to do on the ground with 5 premier rushers. So I'm going to go and tell you, Khalil Herbert's going to get the ball. Dante Foreman's going to get the ball. Roshan Johnson's going to get the ball. Kyrie Blasingame is going to get the ball. And you better believe somehow Mr. Robert Burns might touch the ball as a rookie. And then we have the quarterback grace, Justin Fields, will be put in situations where he will have to scramble and not get sacked. And since he's scrambling and since he's looking up the field, he will be hunting lanes, he will pick lanes, and he will rush himself. So 6 guys running the ball this year for the Chicago Bears. How do I break that down? I break it down just like this. So first of all, to prove that he's the man and deserves to be the starter, Khalil Herbert, an impressive 850 yards, 800 to 9, not 1,000. He's not going to get 1,000, but he's going to be up there. He's going to be so fucking close. I'm like, fuck, he could have made 1,000 yards. That's how close he was. Bingo. So we're going to mark him at 750. Dante Foreman, we're going to mark him as the clear-cut number 2 guy, but the power back, right? So we're going to cut him at, 550. So 750 and 550, we're going to go ahead and round that up, 1,300 yards. Now you're going to ask yourself, well, what is the rookie going to do? What is Roshan Johnson going to do? You said Roshan's going to run the ball. Well, what do you think he's going to run the ball for? How about an impressive 500 yards with an impressive 6 touchdowns, all in red zone? I'm going to say he's going to definitely be the primary red zone back. When he runs the ball, people bounce off of him. That means what? Anything inside the 20, he's getting the ball all year long. You better expect it. You better expect to hear touchdowns being run by rookies, and the rookie going to do it is Roshan Johnson. So you put Roshan Johnson's 500 on top of that 13. That's 1,800 yards. 1,800 yards, my guys, with 3 halfbacks. Now, the occasional fullback run. And we got 2 of them doing that with the occasional quarterback grace. And we've got the best in the world at rushing quarterbacks, Justin Fields. How you doing? So how I see Justin at 250, maybe 300 accidental yards. He's not going to want to do it. He's just going to do it because he can do it. He's going to say, hey, I'm sorry. I ran the ball for 300 yards, guys. I didn't mean to do that. That's what he's going to say. But that 300 yards is going to push us right at that 2,000-yard mark. And then the fact that we got 2 fullbacks sharing the rock, toting it back and forth, I'm going to say those guys are going to get about 250 yards, amongst each other. So we're looking at an impressive 2,250, almost, we're going to call it a clean-cut 2,300 yards on the ground with 6 guys toting the rock. 3,600 yards in the air with 9 guys catching the rock. We're going to have 51 touchdowns by 1 man throwing the rock. If you guys haven't been breaking down these numbers that I've been calmly sharing with you, I'm already building a MVP season in just his 3rd year as a starter in the NFL. Justin Fields, MVP 2023. Chicago Bears going to the Super Bowl 2023 with an impressive record of 12-5, which is a huge upside from 3-13. We're going to go from 3-13 to 12-5 and enter the Super Bowl. Am I crazy? No, I'm not crazy. I've been watching everything my team's been doing, and I've been enjoying everything my team's been doing, and I think we're so fucking scary that the world is not going to be ready. Only people, and I've already said this already once, the only people ready for this are the people that were born for this. And I'm talking about Chicago Bears fans. So if you were born in Chicago and if you were it moved off, like I said, if you live in Hawaii or if you live in freaking Iceland or if you live in fucking China, for crying out loud, if you claim to be a Chicago Bear fan, you are going to be the happiest fan of all football fans all year long. And this is just Erick Daniel Coughlin sharing his thoughts. How you doing? I am the host, and this is my show. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you liked what you heard, if you enjoyed what you've seen, always feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. And if you're feeling generous, always feel free to cash at me, Erick Daniel Coughlin, #Coughlin Pride. Have a nice day.